Hello and welcome to my channel Close to the Edge. My name is Pat, where we talk about all things prog rock, classic rock, heavy rock, and maybe even a stick of rock. Stick around, you never know. Today, I am so excited to have Tom Curlis here on my channel he has a YouTube channel called Curlis Mania. Tom, welcome to Close to the Edge.
Pat, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be on your channel. I'm a big fan of your channel. So loving being here. This is great. Thank you.
And I was on your channel not so long ago, and we did a video on Jethro Tull, Aqualung versus Thick as a Brick.
We did.
I did, and I have a playlist set up for videos whatever videos I'm on other channels, there's a playlist, and you're in that playlist, so people can click on it. And I will put a link in the description below for Tom's brilliant channel. So my brilliant subscribers, if you could give Tom a little bit of love over there. Tom lives in Detroit, in the United States, and he's originally from New Jersey. Am I right in saying so, Tom?
That's correct. Yes. Yep.
Bruce Springsteen country, I believe. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. I am a big Bruce fan. You can see from.
I would imagine you would be from New Jersey. Yes.
Poster behind me is Springsteen.
I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
Yep.
And today's video, Tom, it's an interesting one. It's Pink Floyd's The Final Cut versus A Momentary Lapse of Reason. So there is Final Cut and A Momentary Lapse of Reason. And the reason why I asked Tom to do this video is Tom's channel does album battles, and they're absolutely superb. He's one of the unique channels on YouTube where he has a different guest every week and they do an album battle. And I think they're brilliant, Tom. I really do. And I really do enjoy him.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you don't know who you're going to have on. And it's brilliant, brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pat. Appreciate that.
And that's where I got the idea for this. I said, I'd love to do an album battle. And who would I do an album battle with? Well, it has to be Tom. It's the only man I could do one with, basically.
Yep.
So will we get into this, Tom?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So we'll kick off with, as I said, The Final Cut. Roger Waters, 1983, 21st of March, 1983, to be exact. And it's Roger Waters' last studio album with Pink Floyd. And it was 4 years since The Wall, Tom. You must remember The Wall was brought out in 79. And there was a 4-year gap. He sacked Richard Wright after The Wall sessions and then rehired him for the tour of The Wall. So there was in-house fighting there going on with the band. Even on the tour of The Wall, Gilmour and Waters were at loggerheads. So he decided that he would do another kind of film. That's what his idea was for The Final Cut. And he was going to call it Spare Bricks, Tom. Yep. But the Falklands War happened in the meantime, and he changed his mind that he would write an album about the travesty of war, the injustice of war, why do countries go to war, everything. And 5 of the tracks, Tom, on The Final Cut were left off the sessions from The Wall. And David Gilmour said to Roger Waters, if they weren't good enough for The Wall, how come they're good enough for this new album? He had a point in many respects, but when you hear them all put together, the way Waters put it together, I think Waters was proved right in many respects. Mm-hmm. But this album, Tom, kicks off with the Post-War Dream, the track 1. And I love this track, the way it's a kind of a gentle introduction to the album.
Yes.
Yeah. Because do you find this is an angry album, isn't it? It's an angry album.
Definitely.
Even with the first track. Mm-hmm. The Post-War Dream of the utopia after the Second World War, because his father died in the Second World War, and this is really dedicated to his dad.
Hmm.
And we'd never have another war like that again. But then Britain went out and attacked, you know, the Argentinians in the Falklands, and a lot of people died. And that's how he got it into his head.
Maggie, what have we done?
Yeah, Maggie, what have we done? And Maggie Thatcher was the
Mhm.
prime minister at that time in the UK. And here in Ireland, we're very close to the UK. So we pick up a lot of news from the UK and similar culture,
Mhm.
Tom, Ireland.
Yes,
And just remember, Tom, we have interlinks with the UK going back hundreds of years. Like we were a colony of them for 800 years. So
right,
there's
right.
a lot of Irish, English. So we know the political landscape and everything. And that's why when it kicks off with that, the post-war dream, I love that introduction into the album.
Yeah, yep.
And I do like
You can tell he means it. He is when he's singing that.
he's singing it from the heart.
Yeah, yeah,
And then he goes into the track, Your Possible Pass. Like it's a real concept. Every track is linked in. And I think again, this is a beautiful track, Tom.
hmm
What do you think of this track?
I love this track. I think it's a great, excellent track. And like you said, it's all. Excuse me. This whole record has this tone, right? And it starts. You to your point, post-war dream. It doesn't come in with a bang. It kind of sees in. Kind of sees.
Yes, gently comes in.
Yeah. But it builds, and a lot of this album is kind of like that, where maybe the song will start mellow, and by the end, it's kind of really going crazy, right?
Crazy, angry.
Yeah,
You know,
angry.
angry. And the lyrics are sublime, I think, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the lyrics are amazing. I mean,
Amazing.
that's Roger's strength, right? He's just his lyric writing is unbelievable, always has been.
Always has been. That was his strength way back when they were in the 70s when they were a mega band.
Yeah,
Basically. Mega band.
yeah,
But then it goes into the next track, Tom, One of a Few.
yes,
And he kind of sings and kind of talks that track at the very start.
yeah,
And it's very kind of getting the words in. It's kind of where you're one of the, he kind of,
yeah,
to
yes,
land on your feet. You know what I mean? It's just, to
yeah,
me, and then he just lets it rip. You know what I mean? With his, the war is just playing on his mind. And you must remember, he was only 5 months old when his dad was killed in World War II. So he never met his dad. And obviously that
right.
has played on his mind over the years. You can see it in the film and even the wall, can't you?
Oh,
That's
yeah, it's
coming
all
in
over
there.
the wall too. Yeah, yeah.
It's all over the wall.
Hmm.
Now, after One of a Few, we're going back to the original album, not the CD in the sense, Tom, because you have When the Tigers Broke Free on this. I'm not going to talk about that.
Right.
That was a track that was brought out as a single at the time. That was actually to promote the film, The Wall.
That was the Wall soundtrack. I was supposed to be.
Yeah. So they added that, but to me, they added it in 2004 on every LP and CD after. But for our purposes, we're going with the original release.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
Yeah. And after One of a Few, it's The Hero's Return. You know what he says? Jesus, Jesus, what have we done?
Yes.
Because that really goes into, because when I play the CD now, and when the Tigers Broke Free comes in between those two tracks, it doesn't fit.
No.
Because I always remember it as it used to be. And I'm on the lookout always for an original copy of that on LP. Now, they're very expensive on Discogs, as you know, Tom.
Hmm.
People are looking for silly money. But
Right.
anyway, that Hero's Return is absolutely. And what I take from the lyrics, The Hero's Return, it's all these people coming back from whatever war it is. And you have the banners and flags, and they're all heroes, but they're easily forgotten about after the parade.
Exactly.
Like a lot, and in your country, in America, you would have had that with after the Vietnam War,
Right.
where a
Exactly.
lot of the soldiers were forgotten about.
what happens after the ticker tape parade.
Yes, the ticker tape. And I believe one of your favorite artists, Bruce Springsteen, sings an awful lot about that.
He does. Yeah.
He does.
Mhm.
He sings about that. And that's what he's getting at there. And that's what I get from it. The hero's
Yes,
return.
absolutely. And I
And
love how he gets to the heart of the matter. He gets to the Roger really
gets to
gets
the point. It
Yeah.
gets to the point, Tom.
Yeah.
And then you have the Gunner's Dream.
hmm
And you know why I love this? I love this track for the saxophone on it.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
just have it written down here. Raphael Ravencroft is the saxophone player. He's on 2 tracks on the
Excellent.
album. That's the
Excellent.
first. And it kind of suits that track so much.
hmm
It's filled with, I don't know, it's anger again, but it's just sublime the way that track and the way the sax just comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't this the Gunner's Dream? Isn't this the one where you hear the intercom where the guy's
Yes,
killed and you hear him dying on the intercom? Yeah.
right,
That
yeah,
always
yeah.
gets me. That's just really powerful.
And that saxophone, then, yeah, it's brilliant
Yeah.
and hard hitting, Tom. Very hard hitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very hard hitting. And then
Yes.
on the original LP, then of course the last track on side 1 is Paranoid Eyes. And to me, again, I'm only going from me what I get from the lyrics. Everyone gets different things from lyrics, Tom. Would you
Mhm.
agree?
Yes. Yes.
Like the paranoia, the way it looks of Paranoid Eyes. The way everyone's
Yeah.
paranoid. War makes people paranoid.
Yes. Yes. You can
It
pull them
makes
out
them
of the war, but you can't just place them into society and everything's fine.
correct, and what it has effect on their mental health,
Right.
which only now they're actually understanding it better. Like you might be okay physically, but mentally scarred.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I get from that track anyway.
Yeah. You know how there's like a movie in your head sometimes when you listen to music, and like this song really kind of generates for me. I almost see like the soldier back from war in a dark room, kind of sitting by himself, like,
Yes,
trying to figure things out, you know.
and he's mentally scarred,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's probably paranoid as well. And it's just absolute. It's a brilliant way to end side 1.
Ends with a whisper. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Yep.
love it. And side 2, Tom, Get Your Filthy Hands Off My Desert. What do you think of that track?
I love it. We used to use one of my friends when he bought this really fancy stereo system, and he used to always use this track and crank it up really loud for the because you could, in the distance you hear "Get your hands off the filthy," and then
Yeah.
you hear the I mean, it sounds like there's a missile going by you.
That's great because they had a new production technique for that, and also you can hear the radio, and it's the changing of the dial on that
Yes.
at the
Yes.
very, and then it goes into a kind of with the orchestra, then a kind of violin,
Yes, the
cello,
quartet or something. Yeah.
yeah, and he's kind of talking that more than singing it, isn't he?
Yes, he's talk singing. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I love that the way that starts off, and that goes beautifully into the Fletcher Memorial Home.
Oh, I love Fletcher Memorial.
That's a heart rendering track, isn't it?
Yeah. I just think it's so clever. Like he's the idea of all of these world leaders are all in like a nursing home.
Nursing home, yeah.
They're
Fletcher.
all just like wandering around in circles in a nursing home. Like, they used to be so powerful, but now they're just helpless. I just love that idea.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant track.
Almost like bringing everyone down to the same level.
Down to the same level. We're all human. We all end up
right
in the same place, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I get from
regardless of how powerful we were. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Southampton Dock. And anyone who knows the UK, that Southampton Dock is where a lot of the warships and that would leave for, or that was south coast of England.
That's where they took off.
Right. They took off from, and it's a real kind of back in the day, kind of a military town,
Yeah.
Southampton.
Yep.
And
you think about the wives standing there waving, or
the wives standing there waving, and they all waving them off, and they know some of them won't be coming back.
Right.
That's what that track was probably about his mother waving off his dad
Right.
going in World War II,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
he never came back.
Right.
You know, that's really what I get from that track.
Same here. I feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a brilliant track, though, isn't it, Tom?
Oh, it's great. Yes.
And that goes into my favorite track on the album, the final cut,
Oh yeah.
title track.
Title track. Oh yeah.
And I think on this track, some of David Gilmour's best guitar work is on this track.
Oh, he's on fire. He's on
Even
fire.
though, even though he recorded it separately, because they were at loggerheads, and of course you had Michael Kamen, who coordinated the album, the American composer. He was the go-between Waters and Gilmour.
Yep.
So he would record that on his, but he had a boat on the Thames as kind of a studio.
Right. Astoria. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were at loggerheads, and Kamen was in the middle of it, and yeah, James Gertrude as well, who's involved in it. He co-produced it as well. But that track is brilliant, and that came from the sessions of The Wall.
Yes, you can kind of tell. You can sort of tell. Yeah.
But the guitar work on it is absolutely
fantastic. I mean,
it's my favorite track on the album.
Gilmour at his best, almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then that goes into the track "Not Now, John."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when they brought this out on single. Do you remember the single? They brought it out on single over here, but they cut out the word "fuck."
Yes, I remember this. Yes.
They said "stuff all that."
Yes. Exactly.
And you had the women "stuff all that," and
right.
I wouldn't buy that single because of that.
Wasn't the same.
Not the same, because that track is really what that's about to me, is that because he's on about the post-war dream and the way Britain had gone downhill. They lost their car industry, their shipping industry. He was on about the Japanese getting the car industries, the shipping industries.
Right.
He even says it, the wily Japanese. He says it in the lyrics.
Keep up with those wily Japanese.
Keep up with the wily Japanese. So he's really about the way Britain or England has gone downhill.
Yes. Right.
Where is this post-war dream?
Right. Where's this? Yeah, exactly.
Where's
the prosperity?
Where is the utopia?
Yep. Yep.
You know, so
I love this. I think that's another brilliant Roger Waters. Like, I love, it took me a long time to realize that this song, because I was into the whole fuck all that,
yeah.
But then you really listen to it and get down to it, you realize that he's singing about a guy on a production line.
Correct.
Who's saying we got to hurry up and make this, and we got to make this shit, whatever it is, ship, car, whatever. And then he's talking at the end, where's the bar? Like, so he gets inside the mind of a guy working.
Where's the bar, John? And he kind of says it in a real kind of English. Where's the bar, John?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the ball, John?
John. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing.
Love it.
Love it. And
a great vocal, by the way, from Gilmour too.
Yes. Brilliant vocals. And the last track, which I think, Two Suns in the Sunset, it's really about a nuclear holocaust, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Two Suns in the Sunset.
Yeah. A little depressing.
This was the one track that Nick Mason didn't play drums on. Andy Newmark played drums.
That's right. Yes.
And the reason being because he couldn't do the time changes. That's what Waters said. I presume Nick Mason could have done it, but Waters.
He was impatient at the time.
And the sax on it again. The sax on that again from Raphael Ravencroft. It's just the way the sax on it.
Great, yeah.
And the way it fades out with that sax.
Yeah.
What a way to end an album.
Great way to end it. Yeah.
It's just, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
And I do love this album, as you know, from my enthusiasm with it. I know a lot of people don't.
Right.
And Tom,
very divisive record. Yes.
Yeah.
Very divisive.
And a lot of Pink Floyd fans think, well, it's more than likely a Roger. Why didn't Roger Waters bring it out as a solo album?
Right.
Well, he couldn't bring it out as a solo album, Tom, because they were contracted to EMI for another studio album from Pink Floyd. Mm-hmm. So if he had to go to EMI and say, I want to bring it out, they would have said no.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because Pink Floyd were high after the Wall. Yeah. So obviously the record company wants to make more money.
Yep.
So they're going to call it a Pink Floyd.
Of course. Yeah.
And it is a Pink Floyd album. Because I know Richard Wright is not there, but the main man is there, I think.
Yeah.
Roger Waters.
Right.
At this time, he was the main man with Pink Floyd, going by the previous two albums, The Wall and Animals.
Right. Yes.
So that's what I take on that.
Yeah. Yeah, Roger definitely took the reins on this record. And I think by about halfway through, he just, Gilmour got so frustrated. I think Gilmour did, like you said, he did all his stuff in different studios, and
Yeah, they just were loggerheads, and then
they were fighting because Gilmour was trying to get some more like input in the record, and
but he had nothing.
Roger was saying no, basically.
No, but actually, I was reading that Roger asked him had he anything for the new album, and he said not yet.
Said no,
give me time. But Roger was he wanted it now, but he had nothing. Gilmour had nothing.
Right, and he admitted he had nothing.
He admitted it, but he needed more time. Now, maybe if Roger had given him more time, he could have brought some tracks to the album.
Right. Yeah.
None of us will ever know, Tom.
We'll never know. We'll never know, will we? But I think that was part of the frustration of Gilmour. Again, he didn't have anything, but he still felt like even when he was trying to make suggestions and he would say, no, I don't know. I'm not. He wasn't listening to him anymore, basically.
No, he wasn't listening to him, basically.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, that's the final cut, Tom.
Yep.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
We move on.
Decisive record.
We move on 4 years later to a momentary lapse of reason.
Onto another divisive Pink Floyd record.
Another divisive Pink Floyd album. And I bought this again on LP when it came out. Couldn't wait for it to come out. And I have my little notes here for it, Tom.
Yep.
And released on the 7th of September, 1987. You bought this when it came out, Tom?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this album was in the middle of a lawsuit that Roger was filing against Pink Floyd for not to use the name of Pink Floyd, which was after this album was released. It was settled out of court, and of course they could use the Pink Floyd because they just could, you know, and they were all Pink Floyd. And as I said, 7th of September 1987, Tom, and Richard Wright was brought back in on this album as a session musician, so he wasn't a member of the band.
Right. Yeah.
So he was only session. He didn't play a whole lot on the album now, to be quite honest with you.
He was on salary, basically.
He was on salary, yeah. He was a paid musician to come in. And Gilmour, with this album, brought in a lot of people on this album, for writing credits. And it was a mishmash of people on this album. And of course, he went to the record company and it was going to be a solo album. But then he decided, no, it's going to be and the record company, of course, wanted the Pink Floyd again.
Right.
Because his last solo album, About Face, didn't do that well. Right?
Mm.
But Pink Floyd, obviously, the name is going to draw in. It's going to draw in the people to buy it. Simple as that.
Right.
And I remember when I got this album first and I put on the very first track, Signs of Life, which it kicks it off. I thought it was very promising when I heard the start of it because it's kind of very mellow, isn't it?
Right.
So, the way it kicks in, very mellow.
It has that one chord holding the chord.
Yeah, chord. And I said, that sounds like a Pink Floyd album.
Mm-hmm.
Straight away. Because it's instrumental, and it's typical Floyd, isn't it?
Yes, a little bit Shine On You Crazy Diamond,
Yeah, that kind of Wish You Were Here-ish kind of sound in there. But then he went into the track Learning to Fly. I think that was released as a single.
Yes, it was. Yep.
Yeah. And I said, this is kind of different, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Different. I thought it was a laboured track, Tom, I'll be honest with you.
Pink Floyd for the 80s.
Yeah, kind of, just kind of laboured track. Not a bad track by any stretch.
Right.
But a bit laboured.
Trying hard. Trying very hard. Yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, The Dogs of War, which I think is an excellent track.
Mm-hmm.
The Dogs of War, because it's really, when it starts off kind of Yeah,
Yeah.
and Gilmore's voice comes in then singing it and really gets going. Like you can hear Mason on the drums.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. They sound like a band playing on that track.
Yeah, they sound like a band playing on that, you know. So do you like that track, Tom?
Yes, I do. I do. I think I think that it's kind of bluesy. It's sort of like a little bit
Yeah,
bluesy.
it is. It has that kind of shuffle to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's Gilmore kind of off the leash a little bit, pun intended.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Dumps of war, yeah.
yeah, but no, I like it. I think he does a great. It's like you said, it's got a good feel. It's got a good ensemble feel. It's got a great vocal. I love David singing on it.
Yeah, singing on that is
You
brilliant,
know,
actually. Yeah, yeah,
and I like it. I like the one world. What is it? One world. We're gonna smash it down.
yeah.
Um, you know, and
Brilliant.
got the female backing vocals. So yeah, it's like you said, they're pushing all the Pink Floyd buttons.
They're pushing all the buttons on
Yeah,
that track. And that
yeah,
goes into then one slip, kind of straight into one slip, which
right.
is it reminds me of more of a David Gilmour solo track.
Yes, yes, very much
You
so.
can hear it, like if you know the album About Face, it's very similar to something on that.
Yes. Where is it? If I can find it, if I can reach it.
If you can reach it, yeah.
Yeah. This
That
is
that album.
it does it
Yes.
sounds like something it could be on this. I
It
agree.
could be on that album.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what it sounds to me.
Yep.
And it's a good track, but it just doesn't sound like Pink Floyd to me.
Yeah. Pretty poppy for Pink Floyd kind of thing.
Poppy. And the same with the last track on the Turning Away.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of
This one's a little sappy for me. What do you think?
it's sappy, yeah. But like again, it sounds like something off and maybe of course when he was writing those tracks, that was his intention that they were for a solo album.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because they were having that legal battle with Waters, and no one knew where they were going. So you don't know. But I think it's a weak way to end it, side one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I've never liked On the Turning Away. It's always been this sort of like in the crowd waving with the.
yeah, that kind of thing. On
I
the
just don't like
turn.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't like that either.
Yeah, so not my favorite
No.
track.
Yeah, exactly. So side two on the LP then kicks off with yet another movie. I think it's a great track to start off.
Ooh, love this one. Yeah,
Yeah, brilliant track. Brilliant track.
yeah. I wish
It
the whole
really
album
kicks.
was like this.
I wish it was, but
You know?
unfortunately it's not, Tom. It's not.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great way to kick off side two. Because I remember I listened to it the very first time, I still remember. Because I was disappointed with the ending of side one. And then when this came on, oh, this is promising. Maybe side two is gonna,
Right.
grab you.
Yes.
And then it went on to Round and Round, which is an instrumental track, which is a nice instrumental track. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
not bad.
nice.
Not bad.
Not bad. Nice instrumental track.
Very, very brief.
Very brief.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you go into A New Machine Part 1, which is again brief.
Yes.
Felt like a filler to me.
Yeah, sort of like a vocal with something treated on it. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of the voice is kind of, yeah. And it sound to me, it's like a filler. Very short, I think, Tom. I think it's only less than 2 minutes, I think, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Nobody
you go
lives forever, or whatever he keeps saying.
no one lives forever. And then you go into another instrumental, Terminal Frosts,
Mhm.
which to me doesn't even sound like Pink Floyd.
Right. Right.
To me, it's like elevator music.
Mm-hmm.
You know the music you might hear going up an elevator. Yeah, just to take your mind off the fact that you're going up an elevator. That's
Right.
what that Terminal Frost reminds me of. And
Yeah.
didn't do anything for me, Tom.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
See, there's where I do quite like Terminal Frost, but I agree with you that I agree with you that doesn't sound that Pink Floyd-ish.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Good. There's somewhere where we disagree. That's good.
Yes.
I like
I like
that, Tom.
Terminal Frost.
That's good, Tom. I like that.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that. And then, of course, we go into A New Machine Part 2. Very short again, Tom.
Yes. Very short. This one is really short.
Like another filler.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't do anything for me.
Kind of odd.
But to be honest with you, Tom, they waited to put the best track at the very end.
Yes. Sorrow is killer. I love Sorrow.
It is killer.
Yeah.
That track could go on any Floyd album.
Yes, exactly.
It's that good.
Yes, I agree. That tone at the beginning, that killer, it's so good.
And the way it, it starts to move up a beat.
Yeah, it kind of builds slowly, and
yeah. And his guitar solo in the middle of it.
Oh, just
like he's a brilliant guitarist. He has a brilliant, unique sound on his guitar.
Yeah,
and his screeching guitar. I think this track is just the best track on the album.
Yeah, I agree. Sorrow
and
is
a brilliant way to end it. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember again going back, I played that track again. I played again, and I kept playing that track.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what happened then over the years? I might play one or two tracks. And of course, when I got the CD, that's the track I just play it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a brilliant way to end the album. Brilliant.
Yes. Definitely a highlight of the record, no doubt.
I thought the album starts off brilliantly and ends brilliantly.
Right.
It's the little bits in between.
Some highlights in between, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here and there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, Tom, this is the part now where on your channel you always say, which album, what would you give that album out of 10?
Final Cut?
Yeah.
Final Cut, I would give it a, this is so hard because I have to be honest. I think this is a work of art. I think that Roger Waters, I respect him immensely, but I have to say that I don't listen to this album that much because I am kind of the guy who loves like Wish You Were Here, and I love Animals, and I love some of the stuff. Like I love Scared by Clouds, some of the stuff where they just playing as. So
I like that too. I have that on LP, yeah.
So this to me feels more like it does feel like a Roger Waters solo record. And in that regard, I think it's very strong. As a Pink Floyd record, it's hard for me to be like super effusive about it. I do think it's very good. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, Tom. I like your honesty.
Yes.
I like your honesty. So I know people on my channel will know what I'm going to give this because I did a video ages and ages ago. I give this, Tom, a 10 out of 10.
There you go. I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were very.
To me, it's a misunderstood masterpiece.
There you go. See,
and I think the reason why, Tom, and I'll tell you the reason why. I got into Pink Floyd in '79, and I remember buying The Wall after it came out, right? Because it came out in '79, but I probably bought it in 1980. I think I bought it in the UK. I was on holidays in the UK. I bought it. So, but this album was the first Pink Floyd album I was waiting for.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So I played it to death. Yes. Yeah. So it has a special place in my heart, that album. Because I remember buying it and I remember playing it. And I played it to death and I loved it. The rest of the lads didn't think much of it. I loved it. And they'll tell you, I've always loved that album.
Right. Yes. No, that's understandable. I mean, I'm telling you, that is I don't think there's any more divisive records than these two, because when you look at something like when someone posts about the Final Cut, 50% of the people will say brilliant, masterpiece, like you said, 5 out of 5, no question. The other half will say rubbish, don't like it, it's a Roger Waters solo record.
Solo album, correct.
It's like 50-50, right down the middle.
50-50, but you're in between though, Tom, with it. You didn't give it. Yeah, you're in between.
Yeah, because I respect the artistry. I respect Roger. I think Roger is very smart man. I love, and when he left, they lost his brain. That's what they lost when he.
They lost it when he left. Yeah,
you know what I mean. They lost his thinking and his lyrics and his conceptual brain. You know,
they lost that, and of course, on his solo, he went off and did solo, but he needed. To me, he wasn't as good on solo as he was with. He needed the rest of them as well.
Exactly.
They all needed each other.
Yes, they complemented. They complemented each other so well, and like you said, the magic was when all of them worked together.
Yeah, as you can see it on Dark Side of the Moon, sure, and Wish You Were
Right.
Here.
Exactly.
They were, and the Wish You Were Here album is the last album that they actually all worked together.
Right. They actually worked like side by side, worked and
Worked
listened,
together.
compromised, and right.
They
Exactly.
all wrote.
Yep.
They all contributed. Of course, then Animals onwards, that didn't happen.
Right.
Now, Tom, A Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Oh boy.
What are
Okay.
you going to give that out of 10?
I'm going to give this I think I've rated this one before on another channel, and I think I gave it a 6 out of 10, and I'm going to stick with that 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay.
Because I still
That's
think I think it's got the moments, like you said, it's spotty, but the moments that are good are great. Like
They're
you
brilliant.
said,
They're
I
absolutely brilliant.
But
Yeah,
I mean, I love Sorrow. I love Signs of Life. I love Dogs of War. I love Terminal Fraud. I mean, I love Terminal. So I there's a lot of like real big highlights for me. And last thing I'll say is, to your point, this was the first album I bought. So as a fan, was this one.
yes, that's the first one you bought. Yes,
And there was so much excitement about Pink Floyd being back, and
I know there was. Yeah,
you
I
know,
couldn't wait for this album either.
and it was like, oh my God, Pink Floyd's back. And I bought this when it came out. So there is some sentimental too, like there's some, I went to the tour. I saw them at Giant Stadium.
So you saw them live. I have never seen Pink Floyd live.
Yes. I saw them at Giant Stadium, and it
They
was,
didn't. I don't think they ever came to Ireland.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's very hard to see bands when you're living in Ireland, Tom. Very hard.
Yes. And you've told me that before. Yeah. You said it's
Yeah,
different.
it's just nowadays not so much, but back in the day it was.
Back in 87 it was.
Yeah, it was. It's so hard.
Yeah.
I gave this exactly the same as you, Tom. I have it written down here. 6 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
6 out of 10. And maybe I could have given it 7, but 6 because I think there's a lot of filler on this.
Yep.
I think they were to do better on the next album, much better.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Division
Because
Bell.
Richard Wright was a member of the band then.
Yes.
And he sang on that album and he contributed on that album. And the difference,
You can
that was
feel it.
94. That was a good bit after that album. You know, it's
Yes.
7 years after A Momentary Lapse of Reason. So basically, Tom, between the two of us, an album battle, the final cut won.
Yep.
It did.
It did.
And we were saying this is an album battle between Waters and Gilmour, but I don't think Gilmour's solo career or Roger Waters' solo career, to be honest with you, bar 1 or 2 albums, are that great, to be honest with you. There's a few Roger Waters solo albums I don't really like.
Yeah. Radio Chaos, I'm not a big fan.
No, I think they're best. Can you imagine if they put aside their differences back in after, say, this album?
Right.
Can you imagine Waters being on the Division Bell?
Oh, man.
That would
It made it even better. Yeah.
Elevated it even higher.
Yeah. Yep.
And the 4 of them working together. Can you imagine that?
Oh. Or if Pink Floyd played on, like, what's the one about TV with the monkeys on the front? What's the Amused to Death?
Amused to Death, yeah.
Imagine if like Pink Floyd played on Amused to Death instead of, or something like that, where they just started collaborating again.
And who's the guitarist on Amused to Death? Jeff Beck, isn't he?
Jeff Beck, yeah.
Jeff Beck is on the late great Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
But I never really liked that album, I'll be honest with you, Tom.
No?
Amused to Death. No, never did that. The only album I like by him is his first one in the Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like it, because it's very like this.
It is. It's kind of close to the Final Cut, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of that kind of wall sound.
Right.
He brought out Radio Chaos, and I remember buying Radio Chaos, and I said, no, that's not for me.
I was disappointed with Radio Chaos as well.
No, not a fan of it. Where I think, bury the hatchet, put their differences aside. Imagine if the Division Bell with Waters, the 4 of them,
yeah,
concentrating. And I don't know why people are like that. I don't get it.
Yeah. Like, you create magic together. Why can't you figure this out? Like, just
they created such brilliance. But of course, Roger Waters is quoted as saying that it all fell apart after Wish You Were Here.
Yeah. They were fighting for a while before it really fell apart.
Yeah, it was starting to, they maintain. That's the last one they all contribute, as we said earlier on. Even though my favorite album by Pink Floyd is Animals.
Right.
My
Yes.
favorite album.
Agreed. I love Animals.
Yeah.
I love Animals.
And I love The Wall, and I love The Final Cut.
Mhm.
Don't particularly like A Momentary Lapse of Reason, but I gave it a 6. But I do love The Division Bell.
Yeah. Division
You
Bell
know?
has some great stuff on it.
You have high hopes on that, the ending track.
Oh,
It's just... But I think there's a lot of brilliant work on that. But I think it would have been elevated even more
yeah.
if Waters was on
If
the album.
Waters had done the lyrics, imagine having Waters lyrics on that. Oh,
Oh, unbelievable.
I mean, but one thing I had to say before we're done is that I always have to point this out with Momentary Lapse of Reason, because you brought it up that the credits. I mean, the credits on the CD are like this long, huge, long
Yes.
laundry list of people, right? And then the picture on the is just Gilmore and Mason,
That's correct. Yeah.
right? But then on the reissue, what's funny is that there's a reissue of this, and they put in Wright is in the picture.
That's because from 2012 onwards, he's actually a member of the band.
Exactly.
But he wasn't obviously a member of the band when it was released, and
That's
that's what
true.
we're...
He didn't put it in. They said, but somebody asked them. They said, "Why isn't Wright part?" He said he didn't put any money into it. He didn't. He's not a member. He's not. Yeah.
Member. No, he was a paid musician, like a lot of the rest of them were on the album.
Right. Yeah. So anyway,
And it was sad. I mean, sure, he passed away. He's gone now, about 10 years or so, is he, Tom?
I'm so sad. I'm still sad about that.
So sad,
Yeah.
Anyway, Tom, that was a brilliant. I enjoyed doing that, Tom.
That was fun.
Brilliant.
I always love talking
Brilliant.
about Pink Floyd. It's my favorite.
I know you do, Tom. I know it. That's why I always had you in mind for this.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm going to say to my subscribers, go and check out Tom's channel. And I'm going to leave the link in the description below, because Tom does stellar work. And the reason why I think he's a unique channel. Very unique. I'm not saying this now just because you're here, Tom. I'd say it anyway. I'm an Irish man, a straight talking Irish man.
Straight talking, right?
Straight talking.
Yep.
Because you don't know who he's going to have on the channel.
Right.
You don't know. And that's brilliant. You're getting a totally different opinion on the album. And I love your album battles.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy doing this because I know you have different people be watching this, Tom, and say, well, no, A Momentary Lapse of Reason is brilliant and Final Cut.
Right.
It's only your subjective opinion.
Yes. Everyone's got a different opinion. Yep.
Everyone has a different opinion.
Yep.
Tom, it was a pleasure having you on.
Oh, so much fun, Pat. Thanks for having me.
It was a real pleasure. And I just want to say before you go, Tom, to my subscribers, new and returning subscribers, thank you very much for all the comments and everything. And whatever you're doing, stay safe. That's the most important thing, Tom. Stay safe.
Absolutely.
And it's nice to be nice. Always nice to be nice.
Yeah.
And as my good friend Stan always says, music has the ability to make you forget and to remember. And I think that is the gift music gives to us. Isn't it, Tom? And it's brilliant. It's
brilliant.
Just a gift.
That's so perfect. It's so true.
Isn't it? It's such a gift.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, because we were reminiscing there, and when you remember buying Momentary Lapse of Reason. I remember buying the 2.
Yep.
And when we put them on, we remember.
Absolutely. It takes us back. Yep.
It takes us back to better times, as I said. Different time. Better times.
Yeah.
Different world, Tom. Different world.
It was. Yes, it was.
Different world.
It was.
Anyway, that's all from me here, anyway. And thanks very much, Tom.
Thanks again, Pat.
Really appreciate you coming on my channel. And until the next time here on Close to the Edge, it's bye from me, Pat, and bye from Tom. Okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.